What happens when the land that feeds us is the same land being threatened by the growing demand for residential and industrial development? Land, the backbone of agriculture, the foundation of our food. But today, it's slipping away. As cities expand and the demand for real estate rises, farmers are fighting an unseen battle. One that threatens not just their livelihoods, but the future of food security. If farmers lose this battle, we all lose. In this discussion, we are going to delve into how we can find a balance between development and the need to feed our growing population. And I want you, our viewers, to also contribute to this discussion in the comment section. I would love to know your perspectives on this. By the way, don't forget to subscribe to this channel as we grow and learn together. Let's delve into how we can make the most of intensive farming in the face of tough competition between the agri sector and the real estate industry. Welcome back. I have Fred with me to delve straight into this all-important topic, especially in our time now of intensive farming. Hi, Fred.
Hi, Nadia.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Well, today we are talking about intensive farming, and I believe it has become very prudent, especially in this era where houses, buildings, factories are springing up like magic out of the ground everywhere you look. How does that affect those of us in this agricultural space?
Obviously, to do agriculture, at a certain level, and in our continent, you need land. So land becomes the first thing. I know there are new technologies out there, the aquaponics and so on, the urban farming styles, where we're trying to minimize the land that we have to produce a lot. So definitely land is important, and the rise of infrastructures and buildings is not just known to us in Africa or in Ghana, it's everywhere, which is definitely pushing we the farmers further and further inside the hinterlands. But that also comes with a lot of challenge. It makes farming more expensive and sort of oppose our mission here in farming in Africa, which is drawing more of the youth into it because they don't want to stay in the village. So it comes with its own challenge. But it is definitely something that is affecting us, but it's also something that it's a trade-off. We need the infrastructures, we also need food, so how do we coexist? And I think that is when intensive farming comes in.
I see. So before you even talk about what intensive farming is, can you educate us on maybe the types of farming that even exist and why we are deciding to focus on intensive farming?
So when you're in the livestock industry, you have the intensive farming, then you have the extensive farming, then you have the semi-intensive, which is a blend of both intensive and extensive system of farming.
So we don't have semi-extensive. Let me ask. It might be a question on somebody's mind.
The goal is intensive.
So
do a bit of that gradually and get yourself there. Like do 50%, 60% and get there.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your last question to it is like why intensive?
Yeah.
I think it's the best way to utilize the small piece of land that we have. And it goes back to even where you are in the land system. When you go to South Africa, I remember I was in South Africa last year and I met somebody who I introduced myself as a farmer. And he looked at me and he said, how can you be a farmer, such a young guy, right? And I was like, do I need to be old? He says, hey, then you're rich, And I was like, no, I'm not yet rich, but I'm getting there. And I asked him why, and he said, how many lands do you have?
I see.
So in South Africa, if you call yourself a farmer, then you have thousands of hectares of land.
Wow.
Right, because of the way their land system is.
Is that easy to get land in South Africa?
That is a whole topic on its own.
I see.
But I think lands, and I mean the worst there's no free land. Like you can walk on a land that's not fenced. Like everybody's land is fenced.
Yeah.
So if you come from a family where your father doesn't have a fenced land, you have to go and buy. And I think lands are also sold in such a large quantity that if you're not really coming from a good background, you can't
afford it.
So it's not in Ghana where a family owns maybe just 5 acres, 10 acres, or even 1 acre, and you can go and buy it, right? So the lands are shared in bigger sizes and not in smaller sizes like we have in West Africa. So if you're a youth in South Africa and you're trying to go into farming, you know, it's not that easy for you, you know. Whilst in West Africa, we have access, but we have access in small scales.
Yes.
And that is why we have been doing more of the intensive. So it is time for South Africa to actually realize that, hey, if we are able to get one, we can still become farmers, 1 acre, 2 acres, instead of always seeing the thousands of hectares only as the farmers. Right, so there's a bit of contrast there.
This is an important message for our audience in South Africa watching us. In case, like Fred said, you are thinking of huge sizes before you go into farming as a South African youth. No, this video is for you. That is why I need you to pay attention, because he has already started spilling the nuggets of wisdom already. And this bullet went straight to South Africa. Please continue for me.
I encourage every one of you out there, follow Farming in Africa on TikTok, YouTube. Please, if you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, then you get a lot of knowledge. Thank you. I remain blessed.
I think we both have something to learn. So the South Africans can learn how to utilize small sizes of land to actually cultivate a lot. Right. So, you know, for example, I'm yet to meet you know, a young, maybe black South African who has a boa goat farm, because they don't have, most of them don't have the size of land that they need to rear the South African style of rearing boa goats.
And that's the style they are used to.
Exactly. So they need to learn how West Africans are able to do boa goat on 5 acres, on 1 acre, on 2 acres, so that they can also be a goat farmer. Just for example. So the South African have that to learn from us. And we also have something to learn from South Africa, which is how do we move from our 1 acre, 5 acres into commercial farm. Right, so it's an exchange of knowledge and a gap that we need to bridge. And that is why, you know, if you even go into our YouTube analysis, you see about 19% of our viewers are coming from South Africa, because for the first time they are seeing that you can do goat farming on this small scale of land, and you can do it this way, and still survive. So we need to learn from each other, and that's why platforms like this are very important to our continent.
I see. So still on this intensive farming, you have already admitted that the real estate industry keeps pushing us, the agric people, into the hinterlands. Now, what is the way around it? Should we just accept our fate and say, okay, since infrastructure is also important, let's move? Or you think we can find a compromise midway and coexist?
I think the idea of agriculture being pushed into the hinterlands is sad, because it's like we're pushing our food out of the city, which is not right, because we need the food before, you know, all other things, right? And I remember in the midst of our chaos when you know, earlier this year we were asked to move from Brekum and all that. A journalist asked me if I was once the agric minister or in authority, what would I do? And I think what I told him was, I will make sure that every community dedicates a land for agriculture. Right, the same way we do for schools, the same way
parks.
We do for parks.
Yeah, unbelievable.
we you know, we do for animals, we do for pets. In the US, you go, there's a dog park where you know, you take your dog there for them to play. But I think I think it's sad, because everybody talks so honorably about agriculture, but we act so little when it comes to really getting it to the point where it could be sustainable, it could save our lives, you know. So I think, yes, you know, we're utilizing, if you even have crops on the land, somebody will come and excavate it and plant, and that is it. It's not really appreciated. So yes, we are being pushed away. So if you're a farmer watching, then if you want to start a farm or scale, you have no option than to go to the bush. You can be a farmer and still enjoy the city life, the same way a banker can enjoy a city life and the goodies of the city and still go to work. A farmer can't. A farmer has to go and live in the bush. And that's why the expectation of a farmer is to have like bushy beards and bushy hair and looking bad, because he's not living in the city, he's in the forest.
In the forest.
Living with the animals, so the animal looking style.
That's a wild picture.
Yes. Because you're disconnected.
You're disconnected.
Right, and I think that is a problem. But I'm hoping that we will buy the lands early enough, and we'll do it properly, so that even when the community grows to catch up with us, we form part of the community, and that comes with a lot of better and sustainable practices that we can put, and infrastructures that we can put together. My farm is about 2 hours from Accra, and I think it's still in a community where it is now. But if you look at the infrastructure and the way it's been set up, people wouldn't mind building their houses around it because of the way it's been done. So I think that as we go into intensive farming and we put in the work to build it right, we should be able to blend with the residential areas and the upcoming cities.
Now let's dwell on the urban farmers who don't want to move into the hinterlands. Farming in Africa over the years has also advocated for how no matter the land size you have, you can start something, especially your livestock agribusiness. So for those urban farmers who don't want to move, is there a way to scale up intensive farming? Is it possible, Fred?
I think, whether you're doing crops, mostly if you're doing crops, your biggest issue is water. Once you can have water there and water your plants, you're good. Your plant, and with the use of fertilizers, your plants are good. If you're doing livestock farming, then your biggest thing is going to be feed, and then the second thing is going to be your waste management. Right, so your feed is because you have just one plot, you can grow your feed in there and still be able to have a good amount of livestock there. So if you want to really have more livestock, that means you have to provide them with your feed. If you can find a solution to that, which is something we've also been working on, and producing the pallet feed so that people that have goats in the city can still have feed for them. If you solve that feed problem, which we have the solution for, then you're good. Then the next thing is, because your farm is in the middle of people's property, people's home, if you're like me, then your home is very important to you, peaceful. You want, you don't want to come home and somebody's smelling goats or pigs. The odor is coming there. It's not fun.
It's chaotic.
Exactly. So then you have to manage that waste properly as well, so that you can coexist. So it is possible. The capacity is limited because of the size of your land. The cost is higher, so you have to really be doing something premium if you're going to do urban farming. And then you have to find a way of managing your waste. Even if it's crop, you can just have your crops lying down after harvest. You need to clean it up, you need to make sure the land is clean and all of that.
Actually, we had a guest at our farm recently, and the person's first comments was how surprised he was at the small land size we had been able to build this on. In the person's mind, with what he sees and hears Fred talk about, he was expecting 1,000 hectares. So when he saw the intentionality of everything on the farm, I think that was his main takeaway. And for me, from this discussion, you can't stress enough on how intentional you must be when it comes to intensive farming, right?
Yes. I mean, I think it also depends on the person's personality.
Okay.
So I'll give you that. I think, but that's what. Like when you go for an artist, you're looking for somebody who naturally has the creativity, is patient with it. It's the same thing. So I personally just don't do anything.
So are you saying personalities do affect?
Don't dwell on that. What I'm saying is, Let's say I'm good at what I do. That's why I chose
Okay.
that. So.
Okay. I mean, in a nutshell, if you're a haphazard person, you would have to refine the rough edges.
That's why you
when
then
it comes.
come. Then we help you.
Great. On that note, let me remind you that we are actually offering services when it comes to farm setup, right from scratch to the very logical conclusion. If you're a beginner but you don't know where to start, how to start, the whole how to even just do it right, Farming in Africa exists for you. Just pick our contact from our bio, as I always say, and let's get talking. The way we are advocating that you do it right, it would be very painful that you would start on the wrong note and lose all your investment. That's the last thing you want. Fred also mentioned how feed is important, especially when it comes to doing intensive farming right. Need I remind you again that we have the specially formulated livestock feed filled with macronutrients. We've done productions before where we explained that the foraging your animals go out to do, they lack certain minerals, vitamins, especially if the soil even lacks it. So this livestock feed has been specially formulated with all of these nutrients. Even if your animals listen, they need it in the right proportions, and that is why this feed is here for you. Just contact us. We do deliveries here in Ghana. We are also in the northern region. Most of you reach out. By the way, we have a physical shop in Tamale. Just reach out wherever you are and you'll be sorted out. Also, the rains have set in. By now, if you are serious about having a sustainable source of feed for your precious livestock, you should be planting your sementia grass seeds by now. Please contact us for your seeds as well, because you really need it. And don't say that your animals don't need hay because the sementia grass is doing so well. No, vary their feed, okay? If you eat rice all year round, won't you be tired? Same way, vary the feed, provide a little hay every now and then as well, okay? So please reach out and we will be waiting for you. Now, if you're a youth out there considering going into livestock agribusiness, I'm intentionally using the word agribusiness because Fred tells how it is high time we saw it as a profitable business, a lucrative one that can give us a return on our investment. Please, I'm going back to Fred. He's going to look right into the camera to tell you how it is not too late to start, no matter the land size you have. And who knows, he might throw another nugget of wisdom right at you. Fred, over to you, to the youth who are afraid of starting so small. Yeah. Is it still possible for them to become like Fred?
I think it's always possible.
Great.
You just have to believe it. We all started from somewhere.
Yeah.
So whether it's your backyard, whether it's somebody's uncompleted building, whether it's your uncle's land, just start from there. And as I'm speaking to you, even yesterday I had a discussion. I'm leasing a very small land just to test something, so you to start from somewhere.
Yeah.
But dream big. You want to be like me, I also want to be like somebody.
Yeah.
So dream
Yeah.
to the level at which you see.
Yeah.
And then start from what you can afford, right? And then continue with that dream and continue pushing with hard work, dedication. I think you will get there. We all started from somewhere.
Fred, I want to say thank you so much for the knowledge yet again you've come to share with us. We are grateful. On that note, let me remind you that if you need authentic source of good breeding stock to start your farm with, especially if you are interested in getting some of the foreign breeds we import from South Africa, well, look nowhere else than the Sementia Learning and Development Farm. We bring consignments into West Africa almost every quarter. If you are interested in getting some, it's not too late. Just reach out and let's add you to our next consignment, okay? And also the local breeds as well. At our farm, we breed both, or we rear both, the local goats and the exotic goats. Just contact us and let's get talking. Till we come your way next time with another very educative, informative video. It is bye-bye from us for today. See you in our next video.